Have you ever played against an opponent that seems like no matter how many times they throw consecutive nonstop fireballs, you can never jump? Most fireballs have light, medium, and heavy versions, which affect the speed at which the fireball comes out and travels across the screen. Unlike normals, the frame advantage generated by fireballs varies as a result of two factors. First, the distance between the thrower and the blocker of the fireball. In this example, from a round start position, Ryu's light fireball generates 16 frames of advantage, meaning that Ryu can act 16 frames before Ken can. However, from a slightly further distance, Ryu generates 21 frames of advantage. This is because the fireball has travel time across the screen, and since it reaches Ken later, Ryu is further along in his recovery animation. The second factor which determines the advantage generated by fireballs is the speed of the fireball thrown. While Ryu's light fireballs start slower, they also travel across the screen more slowly. This means that the player blocking, in this case Ken, is actually blocking a light fireball later than a heavy fireball thrown at the same time. As a result, throwing a light fireball means Ryu has more time to recover from his animation than if he threw a heavy fireball. The exact numbers themselves are not that important. The important thing is that slower fireballs are stronger for the thrower when the opponent blocks. With all of this in mind, Ryu can throw consecutive light fireballs without fear of Ken's jump, because he will recover in time to DP anti-air, even when he is quite close. Heavy fireballs, however, do not generate enough frame advantage to allow Ryu to DP in time if Ken jumps. In order to have time to recover from a heavy fireball, Ryu has to be much further from Ken. This raises the question, why would you ever use an H fireball? Well, there's many reasons to use one, but for one thing, they start up faster, making them a more effective poke in footsies. Fireballs aren't the only way to create fireball traps. Play around with your character and figure out what kind of fireball traps you can create from advantageous situations. Learning the spacings where it's safe to throw consecutive fireballs is a key skill to having a good fireball game. Conversely, learning to watch for your opponent's fireball speed and range helps you navigate fireball traps as the aggressor. A second fireball cannot be thrown until the first has left the screen, meaning that if you neutral jump over a fireball, you can gain some space. In Street Fighter VI, you can also make use of the perfect parry. If you have a multi-hitting projectile, like an OD fireball, you can use it to blast your way through. Fireballs are a key part of neutral in Street Fighter. In many ways, the game is built around fireballs. They can be used to set up traps for your opponent, limit the opponent's ability to approach or press buttons, and operate as un-whiff punishable pokes. But they are not infallible. Make sure you are paying attention to what kind of opponent you're facing. Impatient opponents may be more susceptible to fireball traps, but patient opponents may catch on to your rhythm. As with anything in neutral, the use of fireballs very much depends on how you want to represent your intentions and what you think your opponent's intentions may be. Make sure to mix things up to keep your opponent uncertain. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and make sure to check out my other videos in the Demystifying Neutral series. Thanks very much for watching.